In the often brutal and unforgiving realm of professional boxing, there exists a rare breed of fighter, one who marries humility with devastation and calmness with chaos. Among them, none embody this dichotomy more fully than Naoya Inoue. Behind his baby-faced appearance lies something far more lethal than muscle or aggression: purpose. Inoue doesn't fight for spectacle, for money, or even for personal pride. He fights for something deeper: honor, retribution, and legacy. Each step he takes toward the center of the ring is a step toward justice, and once the bell rings, the transformation begins. The quiet demeanor vanishes, replaced by a focused fury that delivers punishment not out of malice, but out of necessity. Inoue does not engage in ordinary matches. He delivers sentences. His ring becomes a courtroom, and his fist the gavel. What makes Inoue's journey so captivating is not merely the dominance or the titles. It's the pattern. Opponents who laughed, taunted, or disrespected him in ways both subtle and bold always paid a price. Not every fighter he dismantled was a loudmouth or a provocateur, but those who were found themselves on the wrong side of a reckoning. And that reckoning was never theatrical. It was precise, calculated, and cold. The monster, as he's now called, is not an invention of marketing. He is the inevitable result of years of discipline, rooted in tradition and tempered by betrayal. In the ring, he does not just defeat, he obliterates, and the stories of those he's laid to waste serve as lessons for fans, for doubters, and for history itself. The moment Inoue decided to climb to bantamweight, the murmurs began. Skeptics, analysts, and rival camps questioned the wisdom of was it too soon? Would the smaller-framed Inoue be able to handle the power of men several pounds heavier? One voice among the critics stood out, not because it was particularly insightful, but because it was dismissive. Macdonald, a lanky British fighter with a significant height and reach advantage, dismissed Inoue as an overhyped novelty. He smirked in press conferences, mispronounced Inoue's name, and treated the whole affair as a mere stopover on his way to greater fights. That air of superiority followed him into Tokyo, but it didn't last long. From the moment the first bell sounded, Macdonald's physical advantages vanished. Inoue stormed forward, undeterred by the Brit's long arms or confident posture. He wasn't testing the waters, he was setting them on fire. Within seconds, he unleashed a torrent of body shots that crashed against Macdonald's ribs like a battering ram. A vicious left hook to the liver was the first real warning. Macdonald folded, gasping and staggering, his face twisted not in disbelief, but in agony. The speed and timing of Inoue's assault had left him bewildered. Macdonald rose, but barely. It was less a comeback and more an extension of suffering. Inoue closed in again, showing no hesitation, no mercy. Every punch had purpose. Another shot to the midsection bent Macdonald over. A follow-up right hand to the jaw left him reeling. The referee stepped in, not to warn, but to protect. In under 2 minutes, a champion was dismantled. Macdonald, who had entered the ring full of confidence, exited a cautionary tale. He never mocked Inoue again. In fact, he never mentioned him again. Following the demolition of Macdonald, Inoue's critics shifted their focus. Now, they said, it was time to prove himself outside Japan. Many American pundits continued to push the idea that Inoue was a product of favorable matchmaking. A domestic champion protected from international danger. Enter Antonio Nees, an American fighter who promised to expose the truth. Nees painted Inoue as an overprotected idol, a soft champion elevated by hype rather than hardship. In the build-up to their fight in Cleveland, he made it clear. He was not intimidated. He believed Inoue hadn't been tested and wasn't ready for the American style of aggression. But when the match began, it was clear Nees had made a fatal miscalculation. Inoue did not tiptoe or dance. He stormed into the center of the ring, establishing dominance from the very first jab. These weren't rangefinders, they were statements. Nees, who had expected time to adjust, was immediately on the defensive. The first round saw him peppered with lightning-fast combinations, his guard repeatedly split open by shots that came too fast to predict and too heavy to absorb. By the second round, Inoue began targeting the body, He didn't throw wildly, or hope for a knockout. He dissected. Each shot was placed with almost mechanical precision, the angles so perfect they seemed choreographed. A single left hook nearly folded Nees in half, and from that point onward, his movement changed. No longer a confident challenger, Nees began to retreat. His counters were slow, and his eyes no longer showed defiance but doubt. Round after round, the punishment continued. By the sixth, it was no longer a contest. Nees had lost his will to throw, his feet had stopped following commands, and his breathing came in sharp, desperate gasps. His corner made the only choice they could. They ended it. The Cleveland crowd, which had hoped for a triumphant American stand, instead gave Inoue a standing ovation. He hadn't just arrived in America, he had conquered it. And the myth of why his fragility was shattered. But no victory of Inoue's was more emotionally charged than his encounter with Emmanuel Rodriguez. Unlike previous opponents, Rodriguez himself didn't spark the feud, it was his trainer. In the tense lead-up to their bout during an open workout session, Rodriguez's trainer shoved Inoue's father, Shingo. The moment was brief, almost insignificant to the untrained eye. But for Inoue, it was a trespass. His father wasn't just his coach, he was the architect of everything he had become. That touch, unwarranted, uninvited, was not just disrespect. It was desecration. Rodriguez was undefeated, praised for his durability and his grit. But against Inoue, toughness was not enough. The fight began with fireworks, both men trading furious shots in the center of the ring. Rodriguez came forward, determined not to be another early stoppage on Inoue's highlight reel. For a few moments it looked like a war might break out. But Inoue remained composed, reading each movement, calculating each step. Then came the second round. A thunderous left hook from Inoue caught Rodriguez flush. He dropped hard. Shock, not pain, contorted his face. He had been hit before, but never like this. Still, he rose. Perhaps he believed he could survive. He was wrong. Inoue moved in again, delivering a body shot with the precision of a surgeon. Rodriguez collapsed, writhing in agony. The referee didn't even wait. It was over. 2 rounds were all it took to settle the score, to remind the world and one particular trainer why certain lines should never be crossed. By the time Stephen Fulton came into view, Inoue was already a legend in the East. Fulton represented a new frontier, a dominant American champion, unbeaten, polished, and praised for his footwork and speed. He was considered by many to be the best at super bantamweight. Inoue's decision to challenge Fulton raised eyebrows across the boxing world. Could he succeed again, this time at an even higher weight class? Fulton seemed unconcerned. He labeled Inoue's rise as media-fueled and questioned whether he had faced anyone of true caliber. But the truth is, legends aren't born through convenience, they rise through fire. And once again, the doubters would pay. From the opening round in Tokyo, Fulton was overmatched. Inoue's jab landed at will, lightning quick and deceptively powerful. Fulton, used to controlling fights with footwork, found himself cornered again and again. Inoue's pressure was relentless, but never reckless. It was a lesson in ring generalship. By the 7th round, Fulton's movements had slowed. His timing was off, and then came the end. A clean right hand followed by a devastating left hook sent Fulton crashing to the canvas. He rose, eyes glassy, but Inoue didn't let him off the hook. He moved in, surgical and emotionless. The referee stepped in just in time. Fulton wasn't just beaten, he was dismantled. And still, none of these battles would compare to the intensity, the narrative, and the redemption arc of the Luis Neri fight. Neri wasn't just another opponent. He was a villain. In Japan, he was reviled for his 2 tainted wins over beloved champion Shinsuke Yamanaka, one clouded by a failed drug test, the other marred by missing weight. He symbolized everything the Japanese boxing community despised. So when Neri signed to fight Inoue, the atmosphere was electric with the anticipation of payback. But vengeance, as they say, is never easy. In a stunning opening round, Neri caught Inoue with a vicious looping left hand and dropped him. The first, knockdown of Inoue's entire career. The Tokyo Dome fell silent. For a heartbeat, time stopped. But the monster rose, and once on his feet, he adjusted. In the second round, Inoue delivered his response, a left hook that dropped Neri and silenced the visiting fans who had dared to cheer his early success. From there, the momentum shifted, violently. Inoue began asserting control not just with punches, but with presence. He taunted Neri, smirked at him, and dared him to advance. Every second of every round felt like it belonged to him. In round 5, Inoue ended it. A monstrous right hand shattered Neri's resistance, sending him crashing into the ropes in a heap. The referee waved off the fight instantly. The crowd erupted. The cheater had been vanquished, not with ceremony, but with crushing finality. What sets Inoue apart isn't just the speed, the technique, or even the power. It's the sense of purpose. Every time he steps into the ring, he brings more than just his fists. He brings a cause. Whether it's defending his honor, protecting his family, or restoring his country's pride, there's always something larger at play. He doesn't shout. He doesn't boast. He simply arrives, demolishes, and departs. His silence is not weakness. It is a warning. For those who entered the ring mocking him, questioning his nationality and disrespecting his name, they didn't just lose. They were erased. And the monster, calm and merciless, remains undefeated in his mission. Not every opponent earned destruction, but for those who did, Naoya Inoue delivered it with terrifying poetic precision.